OpenAI was born as a shield against the rising tide of Google and Microsoft, a non-profit fortress built to protect humanity. But today, it is a $100 billion powerhouse, fueled by corporate greed and a bitter legal war. This is the story of how the greatest AI project in history became a battlefield.
That was really nice. That whole weekend, I kind of like felt, with one big exception, I felt like a great deal of love and very little hate. Even though it felt like I have no idea what's happening and what's going to happen here, and this feels really bad. And there were definitely times I thought it was going to be like one of the worst things to ever happen for AI safety. Well, I also think I'm happy that it happened relatively early. I thought at some point between when OpenAI started and when we created AGI, there was going to be something crazy and explosive that happened. But there may be more crazy and explosive things still to happen. It still, I think, helped us build up some resilience and be ready for more challenges in the future.
But the thing you had a sense that you would experience is some kind of power struggle.
The road to AGI should be a giant power struggle. Like the world should, not should. I expect that to be the case.
And so you have to go through that, as, like you said, iterate as often as possible in figuring out how to have a board structure, how to have organization, how to have the kind of people that you're working with, how to communicate all that in order to de-escalate the power struggle as much as possible.
Yeah.
Pacify it.
But at this point, it feels, like something that was in the past that was really unpleasant and really difficult and painful. But we're back to work and things are so busy and so intense that I don't spend a lot of time.
In the beginning, Musk and Altman were on the same side. They shared a vision of open source safety. But as the compute costs began to spiral into the billions, that vision started to fracture.
That's like you kind of do that on the battlefield. You don't have time to design a rigorous process then. For new board members and new board members will add going forward, we have some criteria that we think are important for the board to have, different expertise that we want the board to have. Unlike hiring an executive where you need them to do one role well, the board needs to do a whole role of kind of governance and thoughtfulness well. And so one thing that Brett says, which I really like, is that, we want to hire board members in slates, not as individuals one at a time. And, thinking about a group of people that will bring nonprofit expertise at running companies, sort of good legal and governance expertise. That's kind of what we've tried to optimize for.
So is technical savvy important for the individual board members?
Not for every board member, but for certainly some you need that. That's part of what the board needs to do.
So, the interesting thing that people probably don't understand about OpenAI, I certainly don't, is like all the details of running the business. When they think about the board, given the drama, they think about you, they think about like if you reach AGI or you reach some of these incredibly impactful products and you build them and deploy them, what's the conversation with the board like? And they kind of think, all right, what's the right squad to have in that kind of situation to deliberate?
Look, I think you definitely need some technical experts there. And then you need some people who are like, how can we deploy this in a way that will help people in the world the most, and people who have a very different perspective. I think a mistake that you or I might make is to think that only the technical understanding matters. And that's definitely part of the conversation you want that board to have. But there's a lot more about how that's going to just like impact society and people's lives that you really want represented in there too.
And you're just are you looking at the track record of people, or you're just having conversations?
Track record is a big deal. You of course have a lot of conversations, but there's some roles where I kind of totally ignore track record and just look at slope, kind of ignore the y-intercept.
Thank you for making it mathematical for the audience.
For a board member, like I do care much more about the y-intercept. Like, I think there is something deep to say about track record there. And experience is sometimes very hard to replace.
Do you try to fit a polynomial function or exponential one to the track record?
That's not that. An analogy doesn't carry that far.
All right. You mentioned some of the low points that weekend. What were some of the low points psychologically for you? Did you consider going to the Amazon jungle and just taking ayahuasca and disappearing forever? Or,
I mean, there's so many low. Like, it was a very bad period of time. There were great high points too.
Altman argues that without Microsoft's billions, OpenAI would have died in its infancy. He traded independence for the power of the largest supercomputers on Earth. But to Elon, this wasn't a pivot, it was a betrayal.
It was like a battle fought in public to a surprising degree, and that was extremely exhausting to me, much more than I expected. I think fights are generally exhausting, but this one really was. The board did this Friday afternoon. I really couldn't get much in the way of answers, but I also was just like, well, the board gets to do this, and so I'm going to think for a little bit about what I want to do, but I'll try to find the blessing in disguise here. And I was like, well, my current job at OpenAI it was like to run a decently sized company at this point. And the thing I'd always liked the most was just getting to work with the researchers. And I was like, yeah, I can just go do a very focused AGI research effort. And I got excited about that. It didn't even occur to me at the time to possibly that this was all going to get undone. This was Friday afternoon.
Oh, so you've accepted the death
very
of this
quickly, very quickly. Within, I went through a little period of confusion and rage, but very quickly. And by Friday night, I was talking to people about what was going to be next, and I was excited about that. I think it was Friday evening for the first time that I heard from the exec team here, which is hey, we're going to fight this, and we think, well, whatever. And then I went to bed just still being okay, excited, onward.
Were you able to sleep?
Not a lot. It was one of the weird things was this period of four and a half days where sort of didn't sleep much, didn't eat much, and still kind of had a surprising amount of energy. You learn a weird thing about adrenaline in wartime.
So you kind of accepted the death of this baby OpenAI.
And I was excited for the new thing. I was just okay, this was crazy, but whatever.
It's a very good coping mechanism.
And then Saturday morning, two of the board members called and said, hey, we didn't mean to destabilize things. We don't want to destroy a lot of value here. Can we talk about you coming back? And I immediately didn't want to do that, but I thought a little more, and I was well, I really care about the people here, the partners, shareholders, I love this company. And so I thought about it and I was well, okay, but here's the stuff I would need. And then the most painful time of all was over the course of that weekend. I kept thinking and being told, and we all kept, not just me, the whole team here kept thinking, while we were trying to keep OpenAI stabilized while the whole world was trying to break it apart, people trying to recruit, whatever. We kept being told all right, we're almost done. We just need a little bit more time. And it was this very confusing state. And then Sunday evening, when again, every few hours, I expected that we were going to be done and we're going to figure out a way for me to return.
Musk now calls it super closed source for maximum profit AI. He's taking the fight to court, claiming that OpenAI is legally obligated to remain open. The outcome of this trial won't just affect these two men, it will define who owns the future of intelligence. Monday marks the start of the biggest legal trial in tech history. Will the nonprofit mission be restored, or is the era of open source AI over for good? Subscribe to follow every update of the AI civil war.